Hi, everybody. It's Alida Hernandez here, Rebooted Mindset. Once again, today I have a special guest today, somebody that I know personally as well, Jessica Muniz, and gone through an incredible journey. And that's why I love bringing stories to you like this of resilience and healing and recovery. I mean, there's so much, right? When you go through anything kind of physically that you go through, it's incredible, the journey, and hopefully it makes you stronger instead of making you weaker, right? So we're going to hear Jessica's story today, um, and find out what happened to her. She just had one day she wasn't feeling well, and the next minute it just went from there. So I didn't know much about it either. I hadn't spoken to her for a while, and then I sent her a message, and she sends me this information. I was like, "What? What do you mean this happened? I just sent you a happy Mother's Day like the other day, and you didn't say anything." And I was looking at the time scale because it happened in April. So I said happy Mother's Day, not knowing she was going through all this stuff. She didn't say anything to me or anything. So she kept it very quiet. But I'm going to show you a little clip. It's like a 30-second clip from Broward Health, because she went to Broward Health, and even though I'm not promoting them, but it's one of the reasons why she is here, because incredible doctors out there and technology out there that saved her life, and that's the bottom line. So I'm gonna just play this 30-second clip here. Oh, where you go? There you go. Okay, it didn't show. Let me see where I put it. There we go. There we go.
She's ready for more family dinners. He's ready to own the road. And it's all because at Broward Health, our neuroscience experts are always ready for anything tomorrow brings. Ready to lead your treatment with intensity, ready with the right care right now. From spine injuries to neurosurgeries and beyond, our dedicated team is here for you every step of the way. Broward Health, well into your future.
So that was a little clip that Jessica's in, because she was part of this program and they saved her life. So she'll explain more. We're going to bring her in because we can't wait anymore. So we're going to just bring her in. Hey, Jessica. So great to see you. It's so great to see you. You shocked me the other day. I sent you a little message and you're like, boom, 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 sending me all this stuff. What do you mean this happened to you? How did you have a brain surgery? What's going on? Now you're famous on TV.
Oh, here I am. I knew fame was going to somehow.
So tell me,
No.
what brought up what happened to you?
Well, thank you for having me on. And what happened was it wasn't anything that happened. I was at work one day, and I left work, and I was going to meet up with some friends to have dinner. So a friend of mine was celebrating a birthday, and then me and my husband decided to go. I would say probably 2 hours within the time of dinner, I didn't feel anything. I was fine, no headache, no nothing. And then suddenly I had a verbal seizure where I couldn't communicate. I can hear everybody and what everybody was saying, and I understood what was the conversation. I just couldn't articulate. I couldn't speak, and that lasted about probably it lasted about 12 seconds, but it was just so long because I wanted to be a part of the conversation and I couldn't for those 12 seconds. So that was the first sign. Yeah, that was the first sign. And I pretty much just I just kind of put it in the back burner because I didn't want to interrupt my friend's birthday. So I just left it in the back burner thinking, okay, maybe it was just something that happened and that was it. And then but then April 20th, so it happened on April 19th, which was a Friday, and then April 20th, Saturday, was a beautiful day. Me and my husband went to the resort. It was so sunny. It was probably 95 outside. We had a gorgeous, gorgeous Saturday. And then April 21st, on Sunday, we woke up and I decided to go to Publix to go get something for breakfast, to make something for the family. And then it happened again in the car as I was driving. I was able to drive, I understood what was happening with between me and my mother and the conversation we're having. And then suddenly it just happened where I was so excited about Taylor Swift being on the Today Show, and I was so excited about it. And I couldn't say Taylor Swift's gonna be in the Today Show. I couldn't say that. And so like while I was looking around, at the traffic and making a left into the Publix, I was thinking, okay, this is happening again, and I'm not out with friends, so there's something wrong. So I immediately just assumed it was just a stroke, or I don't know what it was. So then I went home immediately to my husband, and then I pulled him aside and I said, hey, remember that thing that I told you that happened on Friday? Well, it happened again today. And he's like, he was a little bit shocked, thrown back. I said, I think I had a seizure. I don't know if I had a stroke or, so then he decided that we should immediately go to the hospital, like right away. So then that's when we took the steps to go to the Imperial Point, because it's really close by the home.
Right.
So we decided to go there. And then from there, I explained to the doctor what were the symptoms, what was I having. And then she said, okay, we'll check it out. We'll get some tests. So I was like, okay, nonchalant. And I've never seen a doctor run into, emergency room so quickly. I mean, she came running in, and I immediately knew, okay, there's something wrong here, because why is she running? And then that's when she had told me that I had a brain bleed at that moment. Yeah. And then she said that we needed to go to another hospital, to Broward Health. I believe it was in Deerfield. I'm not 100% sure. I got to drive myself there. And so then they told me to put on a gown, and that we'll be going in the ambulance to the next hospital. Wow. And then when she walked out of the room, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, no problem. I'll put on a gown. And then as soon as she closed that curtain, I turned to my husband and I was just like, what in the world is this? Wow. And he said, I don't know. And that's when we went to the Broward Health.
Wow.
And then from there.
That's a story already.
Oh, yeah. And in itself. And so then from there, everyone kept coming in asking me, like, do you have a headache? Did you fall? Did you hurt yourself? Did you hit the car door? And I said, no. Do you have a headache? No. They checked my blood pressure. Everything was perfect. I was perfect health. So they didn't understand what this was, and it was on the CT scan. So the commercial that you're seeing and those brain scans are actually mine. Those are my brain scans.
Oh, those are brain
scans?
So
those are actually mine, yeah. So you can see the little I guess like a little cloud, and that's where that is. And so then as they were asking me everything escalated to from one hospital to the next, and then now I'm going to ICU. Like, what? I'm going to ICU now. So now they transferred me over to ICU. They gave me medication to stop the seizure, even though it wasn't happening. But apparently it was without my knowledge. And then that's when we went up to the ICU. And then they started giving me treatments. So April 22nd, I'm in there. And April 23rd, I'm having surgery. And I was out of the hospital by the 24th. So less than a week, I was already at home.
That's wild. That is wild. And I saw that the surgery, you were awake.
Yes, I was awake for 7 hours. I was awake. And it was just they were talking to me, the whole staff. They were wonderful. Everybody was talking to me. And then, prior to the surgery, they came over to give me like a clipboard of pictures and of a horse, a turtle, a family, a house, to just see that it was still there, just make sure that I can identify those pictures. So then during the surgery and after the surgery, they still gave me those same pictures with different ones at this point to make sure that I could identify what I'm viewing.
Right.
Yeah. Wow, so inside the operation.
So had a brain. So basically, you had a brain bleed. So you have bleeding in your brain, basically, from what, like a vein, something popped or whatever, or.
Well, how the doctor explained it, he said a bunch of cells that form within that area. And apparently, I was born with something because I did have an aunt who died from the same thing, and she was 34 years old.
Oh,
And so, I get, yeah, yeah, that was something that I inherited because the doctor had said that it was something that, like a lot of Hispanics have it, they're born with it. So it was definitely something that I inherited from my family. And I also have a cousin who has the same thing, but she has a doctor who's keeping an eye on it. Versus for me, it needed to be removed immediately.
wow. Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah.
You're a
Yeah.
miracle.
So
Thank
I
God
pretty
you're
much
not
saw
crazy.
everything. Yeah, I mean, I saw everything. I saw the instruments, the rooms. Um, they were a little skeptic at first because I've been taking the Ozempic
Oh,
vaccine, and not that that had anything to do with what I had, but they were afraid that I was gonna have side effects as far as like vomiting and stuff. Because apparently it has happened to other people having surgery after having Ozempic, and
right.
but no, thank God that nothing happened. For me, I feel like I literally manifested, leaving the hospital as early as I did because I had convinced my brain to say, "Hey, okay, we're gonna have this procedure, but guess what? We're gonna go home tomorrow," and that's exactly how it was.
That's great. And
Yeah,
so within a week,
yeah.
you went through all of this trauma, brain bleed, surgery,
With
open brain surgery, basically. Because I saw one of the images, and
yeah.
you're talking, they're talking. There's all these people around you. So actually open your brain there. Did they do a laser wise, or how do they do that?
Well, I mean, I didn't actually get to see it, but what I did feel was so, of course they numb you. And what the doctor had explained was that he had to give me a series of 12 shots. And in those 12 shots, for every shot that I received, I was going to feel a burning sensation. And he didn't lie because I did feel it. So the first shot, literally, the first one was right here, right above my eyebrow right there. So the first one went here, the second one went here, and then the other two here, and then the two on the sides, and then the others in the back. And so that pretty much numbed the entire skull. So I felt I didn't feel the drilling. I felt the moving and all that stuff. But when he actually went into the part where it's like I guess it's like a cap or like, skin on the brain that's
Right.
holding it together or keeping it, covered. Um, he did say that I was going to feel that. And so, I did feel
Mm,
it, when
that's
he took,
great.
he said, you're going to feel this. And there's nothing I can do, Jessica, to numb it. You're just going to have to feel it and just bear with me.
Mhm.
And so I did. So
Wow.
I did. Yeah. It was the
That's
longest 12 seconds of my life. I was just, counting down and then I
wow.
was like, okay, just, you've been worse. And so, that's it. And we went through it and we were having conversations. I talked to the doctor in there about my life story and my marriage, my wedding, and we talked about everything just to keep me awake. And it had to stay. And even after, I still had to stay awake for the next 7 hours because, as the
Wow.
saying goes for Hispanic, if you fall down and hit your head, you can't go to sleep. You
No.
know, so kind of like that, where I couldn't go to sleep, so I had to stay awake. And then that's when he came and he said, "Okay, now you can sleep." I was like, "Okay,
Wow.
great."
Yeah, because they want to make sure that the brain continues to function properly and everything, and that you have motor skills that they didn't, so they want to make sure everything's good.
Oh yeah, yeah, all my motor skills were good. They actually have a tool where they make sure that they don't touch that area of speech, because if they do, then I don't know, he would have to figure out how to fix that, right? But he
Yeah.
actually had an instrument to make sure, and they can actually see the brain waves and to make sure that they're not touching that particular area.
Wow.
And they
Yeah,
never
because
did. He never did.
the brain is very complex, and you don't know. They know exactly what spot.
Yeah.
Like that's for reading, that's for writing, that's for this, that's for like all the brain is mapped out. And JC's on here. He says hello. Says hello to Jessica. So JC says hi.
I'm
But
sorry. I'm sorry. You're
I
cutting
said,
off. What?
oh, I said JC said hello. Can you hear me?
Oh, hi, JC. How are you?
Yeah. No, you didn't forget. I'm kidding. We had parties together like 2 years ago. That's that's
I'm
cutting out a
sorry.
little. I said we had parties together like 2 years ago.
Oh, it
I'm
comes and it
losing her.
goes.
Yeah, it's coming in and out
I'm
on your
sure whatever
side.
it was positive.
Yeah. So yeah, so now whatever you had, it's all resolved and you don't have to have any problems with that ever again, hopefully.
No, no. I'm totally like in tip top shape. I feel so I feel younger. I feel more on point, faster, typing faster, grasping things faster. Not that I wasn't, but I feel like that high speed energy internet, it just feels brand new. I've been
Well, I'm
rebooted,
blaming you. Yeah,
so
you got rebooted. Yeah,
yeah,
you did. You got rebooted, and now you got high speed broadband. Oh.
I got that high speed internet. So I feel brand new. I feel great. And thank God that, that I'm here, because the entire time of my surgery, I was just like, thinking about my family, thinking about my daughter, and just that's what really kept me going, because you get to a certain age where you don't have to think about surviving. When you're younger, you're out there, you're living on your own, and you're just like, oh my God, where's the next meal gonna come? How am I gonna pay my bills? But as you get older, you don't think about those things. So during my surgery, what kept me going was thinking about and just going back into that vault of like surviving, and just keeping my mindset okay, like, all right, I know we haven't survived in a long time, so we kind of got to go back into that mindset. And that's exactly what I did. I just kept myself positive, but at the same token, um I also accepted, and accepting, death is a lot of things that people cannot do. And for me, I was ready to accept it and receive it and move forward, pivot and move forward. And so I was just thinking, okay, well, if it's my time, then it's my time. I'm not gonna fight it, and if I'm gonna leave it in God's hands, and that's it. But obviously, He had other plans because I'm still here talking
Yeah,
to you right now. You know, and this is great. So I still have, I guess I still have a message to send out, and that's why I'm here.
that's awesome. That is awesome, and it's true. We all have we're
Thank you.
here for a reason. We don't know what it is. Only God knows.
Right.
Hopefully, we figure it out before we die. So, but it's good, right? We're trying to figure it out before we die. Oh, that's what it was.
I mean, even if we don't figure it out, I'm sure that's okay too.
Yeah, we do stuff like I mean that's why I started the podcast. I started this since I got sick and I had my stroke, and it's going to be 8 years now in January since then. And I've changed. I've changed a lot of things. I've also learned recently. I've been a little. I haven't been feeling great, and I wasn't feeling good for a couple of months mentally. I was really foggy. I did a show on brain fog. I told people I didn't know what was going on with me, and now I just found out the reason. So something physically that's going on with me that was affecting me, and I didn't know. So now that I know, I'm addressing it. And that's why
Yeah,
I tell people that it's very important to listen. That's what I put today is listen to your body, right? Listen to
yeah,
things that
yeah,
happen because you get signs. You get signs when something is wrong. You got a little sign. You lost your speech for 12 seconds, which was an eternity because you can process. You're like, what's going on? Like I know something's wrong, but you can't say,
yeah,
hey, something's wrong. So
yeah. No,
so those are just things I tell people, they have to watch those signs. If they get any kind of weird severe pain also is also an issue, you know. So, just people have to take care of themselves health wise. At least I go for my blood work to make sure I'm all good, and then if I have to address
yeah.
anything. And
I
that's
mean,
what
for me, I think the way that things are today, as from speaking for myself, um, as a woman, when you're younger, you don't pay attention to those things because you're like, okay, I'm living my life and I'm having a good time, and then you realize at the age of 28, you're like, okay, I think I need to pay attention, But that was in the 90s. Now that we're in 2024, like you're gonna have to you're gonna have to speed up the process, because waiting till you're 28 to figure out, like, does this leg work, does that arm work, like, no, you're just gonna have to speed up the process. And that's what I taught my daughter. So that's where that journey started, because my daughter is all, she was going through something, and I needed to tell her, like, hey, I need you to speed up the process. I know, like, normally a woman would figure it out by 28, but I know that you're only 19, but I need you to really pay attention to your body, really get to know it, and figure out those signs, and don't ignore them, but pay attention to them, because those signs can save your life.
Yep. I was 19 years old when I first had an ovarian cyst. I had a cyst in my ovary, and I was like 19 years old. And I remember I was in so much pain. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I had appendicitis. I didn't know nothing about like my anatomy or anything like that. And then went to the doctor, and then they explain it to you, and you're like, what the heck is that? You're like a young girl, you just started your life, like, But those things happen.
You just getting started, and it was definitely surreal for me. Like, I was just like, I've never had anything like medically happen to me, only that I broke my leg and I had my daughter. Other than that, I've always maintained myself and kept myself tidy, and always go to the doctor, but this was something that was just like, what's going on? But I'm so glad that the doctors were able to catch it quickly, and really and get to work, and that's it. I mean, that's what they do. They want to save lives. They want to take care of people, and they definitely took care of me. Broward Health, I mean, that entire staff was just absolutely amazing. I mean, I've never had anybody take care of me like that.
That's awesome. No, that's awesome that the hospital care is better. Not sure if the one in Deerfield, I've been to that one. They've changed that a lot. That Broward Health there, they've changed it dramatically. I've been to that hospital. I even been to Imperial Point. When I had my stroke, I went to Imperial Point. And I remember I walked when I got there, and they put me in the wheelchair, and they looked at me. Everybody was like scrambling, hurry up, get her in the room. And I'm like, why is everybody like that? And I didn't know, because I didn't look at myself in the mirror. So my left side, I was all twisted. My face was twisted. And I'm like, what's going on? But the doctors, thank God for doctors. And that's why I always say, even though I like to do things more naturally, if I can, right? I try to stay holistic, but you still need medical doctors. Medical doctors are there for those emergencies like you had, those traumatic things that they have to do brain surgery, they have to do reconstruction, or, something happened to somebody's leg. I don't know, something, traumatic, that they are there to save lives.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I mean,
so how's your husband through all this? How's he doing?
He was so frightened, because, I mean, he didn't know what to think of it. And at first he thought it was just like a ploy of it for attention. I'm like, what? Like, no, I'm not doing this for attention, and then he didn't understand too much. And then when we were in ICU and they're telling him that I got to get brain surgery, he was just like, I was just so worried for him. He was so nervous. He was crying in the car, alone, and he's like, it was the anniversary of it. So it's the month of his birthday, the anniversary of his sister's death. Oh. And then here I am getting brain surgery. And so then he's just like, what the hell is going on? And then, so what I did was I text everyone, all of our friends and family, to just like talk to him and keep him busy and just to be there for him. So, while I was doing that, I also did my last will and testament and leaving my estate to my daughter. I did all of that and emailed it. I mean, I did that within minutes, because I didn't know what was going to happen. I wrote down all of my passwords. That's why I created a packet for those, who, you should have a packet on, of all your passwords and everything, so that other people don't take your stuff, because the bank will immediately take all of your things, And so I did my packet. I did all my passwords. I emailed everything to my daughter, and that was it. She didn't see the email till later, But I had emailed everything. Yeah, I just put in the at the body of the subject, just in case, and And then it was later after when I got home. She was like, "What's this email? Just in case." I'm like, "Oh, it's just a formality. Don't worry about it."
Oh
Because
my
about. I didn't even tell her about because she was going through finals, and I didn't want it affect. I didn't want it to affect her.
right. Yeah, we don't think about that. It's good that you said
So
about the
even
packet because I just thought about that the other
so
day
even
because
to, I was.
what happened?
I'm sorry.
No, I was saying that it's very important about that packet, and I've spoken about that before, and I tell people all the time, you have to have your things in order. Like for me, I have a whole business and stuff. I have tons of passwords. It's a good thing to do. Write them down, send them to somebody, keep them in a place safe. Even in a safe or something. And I think Jessica froze up a little bit. She'll be back. Well, while Jessica gets back on, while she gets back on, I'll keep talking. So I've spoken about this. It's very important that you do like a living will. Get your things in order. If you have a house, get a living trust so you can manage the house. So that way you don't have problems in later on if you pass away with probate or anything like that. That now who's the house? Because what happens is if you don't have it written down that your house is going to somebody, the government can take it. They'll just take it. Oh, nobody's claiming it. Ah, it's mine. And they just take it. So we lost Jessica. Jessica will be back. But so yeah, so it's good to do like a living will and do all these different things. Oh, there's Jessica here. So hold on, where's my screen? There we go. Yeah, so I just continue talking about that. It's important to do a living will, to have things
Yeah.
written down. If you have property, make sure you either have a trust for the house or you have already stated
Yeah.
who the house goes to. Because once you pass, it's a disaster. Because then the
Oh
house can
yeah.
go to probate and it goes to court, and then the government can fight you and take your house from you. While you're gone, they can take the
Yeah.
house. Oh, it's nobody's name. Oh, too bad. We take it. Se lo llevan. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things, but
Yeah.
especially if you have a lot of properties, cars, whatever it is, you have to have everything written down. You can't assume that it's automatically go to your children. And if you have more than one
No.
child, and then if you have more than one child, you need to be specific because you hate to say this, but every time somebody passes away, if there's $1, they're gonna fight for that dollar. Okay.
Yeah.
So it doesn't,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's really
Unfortunately,
sad.
but for me, I mean, I did it so quickly. So while they were prepping everything on the 22nd, I was not sleeping because I had a lot to think about, and so I just wrote everything down. I put it in an email, put all my passwords, everything, even Hulu, even my Hulu password. I put
Wow.
every password, everything, my account numbers, so all of my accounts, my estate, a copy of my the property that I have. I mean, copies of everything, and I submitted it all to my daughter. I gave her the email. I CC'd other people that are close to me to make sure that they help her with it, so that she's not by
Right.
herself doing these things. Just in case. And that was what I was doing while he was sleeping, while my husband was sleeping, because he
Wow.
was just so worried. I mean, this guy was just a mess, and I felt so bad because it was like, oh man, how could this happen?
Yeah.
And so that was basically it. I was just calling everyone to be there for him, and they were, thank God. And that was it. And then after the surgery was over, then everybody, the doctor came downstairs because he kept asking the staff, like, where's my wife? Where's my wife? And he came downstairs and with his gown and said everything was perfect. She did great. She did amazing. She's a warrior. She's so strong, and she'll be coming downstairs shortly. And
Hmm.
then and when I came downstairs and they rolled me into the room, and he's the first person that I saw. I'm like, hey, he's like, hey, he's like, oh,
Yeah,
teary eyed, and
no,
yeah,
that's good. I'm so happy.
and
I'm
then
so I'm so shocked when you send me that message. I'm like, what's going? I'm like, you send me the video. She don't say nothing. She doesn't say anything. She just sends me the video, and I'm like, Jessica Muniz, okay. And I play the video. I'm like, what brain? What going on? That's why you don't know. That's why we
yeah,
tell people you don't know anybody's story. You don't know what anybody's going through. That's why we say you can't be judgy and hate and all this other crap that's out there. We talk about this all the time. You can't. You don't know what anybody's
yeah,
going through. You have no idea they had a bad
No.
day. For example, Jessica comes, she finds out this, and and she's going to the store and she's having this issue. Nobody knows what's wrong with you. Somebody come around could just be rude to you. Oh, she's so rude. You know what I mean? Like people get so weird, you know. But
Yeah.
I see you. But
Yeah.
you are your personality. You're a type A personality, and I know you. You're very organized. So I can just see you. I can just go. I'm on a mission. Ella está escribiendo todo. She's like,
Oh yeah.
I'll be
Yeah,
screaming.
I was writing everything on
I
my
can't
phone.
find my password. I'll be like, I can't find.
No, even when I couldn't find a password, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get upset because it's gonna gain nothing for me getting upset. So, I'm just let me get it done, and then I put them all in there, and that was it. And I even put a little note there for my husband, just in case something happens, and just for him to, push forward, because I mean, he was telling me, aren't you scared? You might die. And I'm like, no, I'm not scared. Thinking back, I had a good life. I mean, it was a rocky start, but I had a pretty good life. I mean, I had a beautiful wedding. I have a great daughter who's going to get her PhD. I mean, I lived a good life, and I'm not going to complain, I'm lucky to have been here and lived it this long, and so I was at my point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna accept it, and that's it. So there's no time to like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Well, if you're gone, you're gone. There's nothing you can do.
That's
You have
right.
no control of that. You
That's
know, you know when you're born, but you don't have the date of when you're gonna go. You
no, we
know,
don't. No, we
and no, we don't. So I mean, it was easy to just be at that peaceful part of accepting. You know, so
and it's hard.
that
That
was.
that what you said is very, very difficult to accept that
Mhm.
you might die. So the
Mhm.
acceptance alone is to be fulfilled, right? You have to be
Yeah.
emotionally, mentally, everything fulfilled that you go, it's okay if I go. It's okay. I did my
Yeah.
job. I did what I had to do. I have a great daughter, husband, you have family. They'll miss you, but you're good with that. And that's something that
Yeah.
many of us out there can't do. They can't do that.
Right.
I think
Right.
that's a big thing.
Figure out, and then you got to figure out. Wait, hold on. What is that? No, if you haven't, then you got to figure out like, okay, you see this video, you hear this message, and whatever it is that you're not doing, well, do it now, do it today, you know. And you have pictures that you haven't put in an album, put it. You have pictures you want to print it out, print it out, frame them out, because that's what I was thinking about. I was like, you know what, I left a lot of memories. I've had great times. I've taken a lot of pictures with a lot of friends and family. So it's not like I didn't leave an imprint. There was somebody that I saved, or I did help somebody. So
Right.
I've left, people think, oh, I'm going to leave my mark in the world. You probably haven't. You're just not realizing that you did,
Yep, exactly.
you
Because you
know?
touched somebody's
So,
life, you touched many
yeah.
people's lives, you've helped a lot of people. Hey, you
Yeah.
helped me, you helped us when we had the studio next to you and we had a great time and everything. So we made memories.
Yes.
We already made memories together. And that's the whole part of life is making memories and
Yep.
just remembering those good times and enjoy life, right? Enjoy life. Like I said,
Yeah.
happened to me 8 years ago. I couldn't I'm a miracle too that I'm here because I got to the hospital at the right time. And I was going to go to sleep. I was like, I'll just go back to sleep. And I tried to fall asleep and I couldn't. And I'm like, something's wrong. Yeah. My body was telling me, wake up, get out of bed, But, um, it could have gone a different way too. And I remember feeling that emotion of where my kids weren't with me at the time. I was at the hospital, and all I kept saying, I need to see my children. Like that was my biggest fear, was not to see my children again. That was like my biggest fear. Like I didn't have an opportunity
Yeah.
just to see them one more time or something. That was like my biggest thing. And
Yeah.
but yeah, so I,
Yeah. I
thank
mean, for
God.
me, my fear would have to have been, I hope that my last conversation that I had with my daughter was a good one. I
Mhm.
always make sure that I say I love you to her before I leave. Um, so that I didn't want to, I never leave, how do you say, like, any cap unturned. I always make sure that I say I love you to my loved ones, because that could be the last time. but at
Yeah.
least the last thing they heard me say was that.
Yeah.
So I was thinking back, did I say it? And I was like, yeah, I did. And then we have the ring at the door, so she could go back to that ring and see that I did say it.
That's
Yeah,
what's good now about all the technology, video, and everything we have now. Our phones that we can FaceTime or video call somebody and have that moment that we couldn't have
yeah,
before. I wish, do I wish I had this phone when my grandfather was alive, or my
uh,
grandmother, you know what I mean? To be there for the
yeah,
last time or say, hey, grandpa, it makes me misty thinking about it. Those
yeah,
moments
yeah,
you can't get back.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I'm
No,
so
but now
happy.
I'm gonna thank you. Now I'm gonna start. Now I'm getting a lot of people reaching out to me about a book deal. And they want to turn my story into a movie because it's not just the brain surgery, it's why the brain surgery and how did it happen. And it was an injury. I was born with it, but it was an injury that my mother inflicted on me when I was a teenager, you know. And
Oh,
because of yeah, it was an injury. So she came home one day from work. She must have been agitated from work, and Hispanic moms, they get pissed. So she came home, she was pissed, and I don't know what she was pissed about. I was like, I had just turned 17, and so she came home and she's like, "Did you do the dishes?" And then I said was like, "Oh, well, I'm a teenager. I'm not gonna
right.
come home and do dishes. And so I was like, "Oh no, but I could do them right now." And all I remember was like going to do dishes, and I remember seeing her running to her room, but I didn't understand why she was running to her room.
Hmm.
And then she comes out and she wore her brass knuckles, and she just whammed
Oh
right
my
into me,
God.
just over and over. And for me, I could tell you that I don't remember it. I don't remember any of it. Period. But it felt like I had an out of body experience. It was as if my soul left and I could see it happening, and I didn't feel anything. But I
Wow.
remember looking over at my siblings, and they're just, but I didn't know what it was they were seeing. And then it was as if my soul went back into and then I back into myself, and I was doing the dishes again, and I was just still doing the dishes.
That's
So I don't
crazy.
remember the hits at all. Yeah, I
You
don't, I
never
don't
went to
remember
the
any of it.
doctor. You never went to the doctor, nothing.
No, no,
So
she
it
never
just,
she never took us to the doctor or anything like that. No.
I know you
But
went through a hard
did I?
time. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't have a contusion or anything. I don't remember if I did, if I didn't. But I believe that impact had a lot to do with my surgery. Yeah, a
Oh,
hundred
wow.
percent. Because it
Wow.
because the surgery was on the same side where she hit me. So you know,
Wow.
and so I believe that that vein was just it was constantly healing itself until it couldn't heal itself
Wow.
anymore. So
Does she remember that? Does
that
your
was
mother
it.
remember?
I think that she remembers, but she's in denial. She just, you know how Hispanic moms are. They'll just like, oh yeah, I don't remember, but
Te dio un
they
cocotazo.
do.
No, eso fue un cocotazo solamente. Just a little tap. Meanwhile, she's like,
You know, and nah, that wasn't, and so that was it. So she's been talking about it now with my aunt and saying I don't remember. But if you don't remember, then why do you keep bringing it up?
wow,
Because you remember. Yeah.
poor thing.
But I don't hold anything against her because I mean, she was a mom of three. She was 23 years old. She had a 9-year-old at that point, and here she was, older with three kids, and she just, I mean, when you have a baby and you leave the hospital, they don't give you a manual on how to raise kids. You know, you got to
And you're
figure it out.
alone.
And
And she was alone, right? She was alone with the kids, no dad in the
she
house.
was, yeah, she was a single mother with three kids, and then she met this guy who had accepted her with three kids. And so it was just something that she was not ready to have children, and she just didn't know. She was just winging it, like, okay, I have these three kids. And she always kept saying, she's a Puerto Rican mom, and you know what they say, oh, once you're 18 you're out of here. And my luck, I graduated at 17. And she's like, well, you graduated at 17. You graduated high school. You know what that means? You're out of here. My job is done. You
Oh my
know?
God.
And she packed my stuff the day of my graduation from high school. And she's like, well, that's it. I did my job. You're out of here. So the same day
Wow.
of my graduation, the same day I had to move out.
Where did you
Mhm.
go?
I went to a friend's house who was already prepared because she was like, because they were Puerto Rican. It was a Puerto Rican family as well, and
Right.
so they were prepared. And she said, they're gonna throw you out. Just come here, and I did. I did, and I remember that when I got there, my mom had found out that I had went there, so she went over there to claim me. And my friend's father, who was always in a recliner, you couldn't get that man out of a recliner. And that day, that night, I've never seen that man out of that recliner. And he got up and he went to the door and he said, what are you doing here?
Wow.
And then she said, I'm here for my daughter. Oh, your daughter? You mean the one that my daughter? No. That's my daughter. You threw her out, remember? And that was it. And she left. And I never went back home after that. I figured it out, got my own place, worked, and made my way to the top.
Yep. And you've been doing that ever since. Even the short time that I know you. I know you're a hustler and you're always working hard. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That drive is always there. Just because I had the brain surgery doesn't mean that it changed
I
my
know. You're like,
personality.
am I
It
good
was
now? Am I
surgery.
good? I'm ready to
So the,
go. ¿Dónde está la party? ¿Dónde está la?
yeah, can I go home because quiero arroz y habichuela con pollo guisado.
Ay, Dios mío. Snoopy, stop. Oh my gosh. Well, that's that. Oh,
Little
wow.
doggy.
Yeah, you have an incredible story. You've gone through a lot of things.
Yeah. And that was another thing too, that they allowed my dog to stay with me the entire time. My
At the
my my
hospital?
puppy Penny. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
everybody
awesome.
loved her. Let her stay she's my emotional support dog, and she was only a puppy. She was literally just graduated. She was 6 months old,
Oh,
and
wow.
yeah, there she was with me, and during the entire time, I guess hearing everything, seeing everybody coming in, she went bald in her ears. She lost all her hair in her ears, and then now it grew back.
That's
But
weird.
during that time, all of her hair in her ears just completely came right off. The poor thing. I guess from
Wow.
hearing everything, and I have pictures of her that she went bald in her ears. Yeah,
That's crazy. I guess the stress, probably the stress. She was absorbing
the stress.
you were going through and everything. She was kind of absorbing all of that for you, you know? That's
Yeah. But she's
wow.
there the entire time. She's next to me, and even now when I go home and she hears my voice, she's already going crazy.
Yeah, she knows.
And I've
She
never
already
had
knows.
a kind of yeah. She's very protective of me, and I'm like, oh, I love this little doggy. She has the
That's
same birthday as me. October
aw.
2nd. Yeah,
No.
so we celebrate our birthdays together.
You had a good
Yeah.
birthday last week?
Yeah, I did. I had my birthday here in Florida with some friends, and with my daughter and her friends, and my family here. And then we went to New Jersey. So there I had dinner with my Philly family from my father's side, and then my friends and my family from my mother's side over in New Jersey on the other side of things. And we had a blast. We had a great time.
That's great. That's
So
great. I'm happy that
it
you're
was an amazing.
traveling already and seeing your family and
Yeah,
you're good to go.
yeah. I will be considered fully recovered on December 23rd.
Ah, right before Christmas. Your Christmas present.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
That's yeah.
Because it
Thank you
was
so
6
much.
months. It's like a 6 months. They have to wait.
Yeah, yeah. I had to wait, and they'll clear me. I mean, they've cleared me for driving and other stuff, but bungee jumping is out of the question until December 23rd.
No roller coasters, none of that stuff.
No roller coasters, no rollerblading, no roller nothing.
Yeah, no, you can't hit
So
your head. Yeah, you have to make sure you
yeah,
protect your head. Yeah. So if you
yeah,
do, you
yeah,
put a helmet on and all that other stuff. Yeah. Yeah, the
yeah. I'm
brain.
staying away.
Yeah, the brain is so sensitive. I mean, I got mom with, memory issues and my aunt, and I see the difference. They're starting to decline. And there's little things
No,
that they forget. They forget little things that are important.
right,
And
right.
but when you're older, unfortunately, the brain doesn't recover, unfortunately. And
Right.
the other day I was talking to a doctor, and she made it clear to me, and it helped me understand. So when you have, say, Alzheimer's, right, the brain is slowly deteriorating in certain areas. We don't know what area, right? So
Right.
your memories from the past, okay, that stays there. That's your hard drive. Your hard drive, that's permanent. That's like written in stone, right? So those memories are
Mhm.
good. But now with the new memories, you can't form new memories. That's the
Oh,
problem. So what happens is I'll take her out, and then she's like, "Well, I've never been here before. I've never done this before, or I've never." So every day, like you have to enjoy the moment, and I think that's for
yeah.
everybody. I think we all have to enjoy the moment in life because, like my mother, I can make her happy right at the moment, and not even a few minutes later, she won't even remember it happened. So
Uh,
yeah. But for the moment, she's
yeah.
happy, she's dancing, she's smiling. I gave her the joy, right, for that moment. So
Yeah.
I think we all need to do that, right? We all need to have those moments of joy with family and people that we love for these moments like this that you don't know. We don't know when we're gonna go. We don't know. It could be we can
Right
walk out
now.
the door and get hit by a car. It's stupid to say that, but it's
Yeah.
true. But it's true. It
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and I think a lot of us take so much for granted in life until it hits us, then we're like, oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think because I learned with just being around my mother, I never took anything for granted, and I was always present for everything. And that included with my siblings and my family and my friends and every event. I always made sure that I stopped and looked around and was present during those times, and just to savor it. And that's why I felt like with my daughter, as I think just felt like longer than it should have been, right? Because for me, I was like, oh, everybody's like, oh, life goes by quick and they grow up so fast. And I'm like, well, I don't know what you're talking about because it feels like I've had this kid for 30 years, and she's only 26 and it just feels longer, you know? And, but for me, I think for me, I paid attention. I think that people today have to pay attention, be present, and time won't go as fast as you think. If you're present and you're aware of your surroundings, and when you catch yourself not paying attention, that's when you realize, like, hey, I think I just missed something. I better pay attention, you know? So I try to be present on everything. Enjoy the moment, but also be present while you're enjoying that moment.
Exactly. I know. And unfortunately some
Yeah.
people don't understand that, and then the moments go and then you can't get them back, you know? You can't sometimes
No.
I've had a lot of family members pass away. I had a friend that I knew, we found out that he passed away. I mean, people are just dropping like buckets lately. I mean, really, literally, it's not one day that I don't pick up my phone that I don't see somebody passed away. Like even somebody you don't even know, like an actor or somebody, like every single day. And some are young, some
Yeah.
are old. So, I know I've made a stamp, and when I'm gone, somebody can see my videos and remember all the stuff we talked about. So that's
I
just
agree
the
100%.
good thing about technology. So, but I thank you, Jessica, so much for your time. We'll talk soon again. I got to see you when we go down there. I got art Miami tickets if you want some. I'm
Sure.
giving away tickets, so I'll send you the link and you can get some tickets. Go down to Wynwood,
Sounds
Manhattan,
good.
and see the art show. Well, I'm going down there December 4th. So maybe what
Okay.
I'll do is I'll talk to you and talk to some of my friends, or we can get a group of us together. We can go down.
Okay. Sounds
Yeah.
good. Thank you so much for having me and for spreading the word. And I appreciate you.
No problem. I appreciate you, and say hi to hubby and the family.
I
Okay. Bye. Bendiciones.
bendición. Bye.
Bye. So that was an incredible interview. Oh, I've lost myself. Hey, there I am. So that was an incredible interview with Jessica. She's gone through a lot of different things, and it's just amazing. People that and you meet, and you don't know who has an impact in your life. So I remember Jessica. She was very very intelligent woman, and she still is. Very organized. So when she said she made that list of everything she needed to do right before she's going to have surgery, and she had everything documented. I see her doing that. Okay. But it gives us some ideas of things that we need to do ourselves, right? We need to be able to be organized for our family. If we pass, what's going to happen? If I'm not here, what's going to happen? It's dead air, as they say, right? So we need to make sure that we be able to pass the baton to other people and be prepared for life emergencies like that. And just take care of yourself. Get a normal blood checkup every 3 months, just to check to see what's going on. And then you decide, oh, do I have something that I need to address? Do I need to change my diet? Do I need to do this? There's so many options. So anyway, I thank you, everybody who's watching. If you've seen the replay, thank you as well. Do a like, subscribe to my channel, Rebooted Mindset 555 on YouTube and on all platforms, on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and all where the podcasts are. You'll see us there. So just look up Rebooted Mindset 555 on all the platforms and you'll find me. And of course on YouTube, you can see me live. On the other platforms, you'll hear our voice. So I do hope you have a great day. And next week, let's see. I think I have an interview for next week. I got to check. But you'll see. We'll see the flyer out there. So thank you for showing up at Rebooted Mindset. I'm Alida Hernandez, your host. See you next week. And then also, I had some words about mental health